Okay, so we're trying something new with this one. This is going to be more like an audio only, kind of more just like podcast style. It's just some quick speculation and honestly hopium about the upcoming June Direct, and also just really Nintendo's calendar year, like what the rest of the year is going to look like. We know the beginning of 2024 has been kind of out there, and they've been like hiding a lot from us, and we don't know when the Switch 2 is coming. I'm personally predicting it's going to be probably April, May of 2025. So really, what's going to be happening for the next year, honestly, but right now for the next 6 to 7 months. So I might be way off with these predictions, but it's really just a gut feeling, I guess. You know, based in some logic, but honestly, it's just for fun. So I guess without further ado, this is what they should do. So we already know that Luigi's Mansion 2 is coming out June 27th. My first prediction is that we're actually going to get Luigi's Mansion 1 as a surprise shadow drop after the Direct. And I'm not talking about the GameCube version, I'm talking about the 3DS version. And that's the reason why Next Level Games has been working so long on this game. They've actually been working on 2 games. They're probably going to sell it optionally as a bundle pack, but they're also going to have a special promotion where you can buy the first game and then get like $15 off the sequel. So imagine both games together for $80, specifically trying to get consumers buy the first game. Everyone knows you love the first game, and then while you're there, get the second game. I think that's a pretty likely strategy that I could see. And like I said, the release date will be right after this presentation. Okay, and in July, we know we're getting Nintendo World Championships, NES edition. Boy. So yeah, this is the Everybody 1-2 Switch of 2024. It's going to be forgotten pretty quickly. I'm kind of baffled that they didn't put the NES Remix games with it. Maybe they're hiding something that we don't know yet, but I think it's just going to be like a quick thing. Certain players will love it, not really for me. I think the bigger game that they're going to focus on in July is actually Wind Waker HD. And I know what you're thinking. You mean Wind Waker and Twilight Princess bundle pack? No, maybe, but I really think Nintendo likes to usually bundle comparables together. You know, like I said, Luigi's Mansion 1 and 2. Honestly, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are vastly different games. The only thing they have in common is they're both Zelda games from the GameCube era that were remade for Wii U. But aside from that, they're tonally different. And the YouTuber Nintendo Forecast brought up a pretty good point. Nintendo wouldn't really want to bundle them together immediately because parents might get confused that Wind Waker rated E, Twilight Princess rated teen, and Zelda's been such a worldwide phenomenon. I think they're going to specifically want to keep it separate. You know, they're going to focus on the improved online capabilities. We'll see a whole new overhaul with the Tingle bottles now that the Miiverse is gone, and we're going to see map and item wheel will be like a quick view pop-up instead. It'll be a great new game. Lots of quality of life improvements from the Wii U version. But here's a crazy idea. What if they did make a bundle, but it's Wind Waker HD and Metroid Prime Remastered as a double pack, and maybe as a limited time release? And yeah, it's in the vein of that elusive GameCube bundle. Now, I know I just said that they like to only have comparable games bundled together, and why confuse parents, but this is kind of a different strategy, especially if this isn't necessarily something you'll just find on a store shelf. This is more of a unique marketing strategy as long as the price is right for this bundle. An average fan might think, oh, I liked Wind Waker, and everyone said Metroid Prime is a 10 out of 10 game. So if it's a good value, why not just get the bundle? And then let's say the player actually gets hooked on Prime 1. Well, that's perfect timing for the August game, which I think is going to be Metroid Prime 2 and 3 Remastered. Those games may not be so much of a built from the ground up as Prime 1 Remastered was, but still very good. And Nintendo will make a focus on highlighting the multiplayer mode that was included in Prime 2. You know, they'll add in leaderboards and matchmaking for online and stuff like that. And I just think that even though Metroid doesn't sell super well, with lining the ducks up like this, it could sell a lot more than anyone would be expecting. And it's in late August, so that would be right around the time when most will be choosing if they want to renew their NSO subscription or not. So the online mode could go a long way. So now into September. And I think the next Direct will be September 5th. And just like we've seen a lot recently, they're gonna have a shadow drop on that Direct also. And the game I think it's gonna be that time is Kirby Air Ride, a straight up port of the original with some online capabilities. Now, originally I was thinking they should make a sequel, and I still think that one day, but for right now, I think it's best to keep it as the original game, you know, to keep it at a lower price point. But it would have a whole new robust online mode and tournament bracket play, and maybe there could be patches down the line to make an 8-player city trial match. I don't know, depending on how successful it is, I could see additions being made for this game from 20 years ago. And, the way I'm copium for this, the way I'm envisioning it is that this would be the shadow drop, the equivalent of the F-Zero 99 for 2024, where the game itself is relatively low price, but it's free with the NSO expansion pack. And the cherry on top would be if we had Sakurai himself talking to the audience marketing this game. We know this was the last Kirby game that Sakurai directly had a hand in, and his charm is just all over the title. So even though it seems like it might be a kind of left field, I could see this really going well. And we see Nintendo's had a lot of success with racing adjacent titles for their NSO expansion pack releases. Okay, but that was the early September game. I'm predicting there's actually going to be a second game release in September. Everyone's predicting a new Mario Party. They're saying that secret codename Banquet, that's what this game is. ND Cube is working on it. Maybe, definitely possible, definitely likely. But what if it's a new Fortune Street game? Yeah, Fortune Street was that weird Mario Party-like game on the Wii. It was a new entry in a long-running Japanese franchise called Itadaki Street, but it's actually a Mario and Dragon Quest crossover party game thing, kind of like Mario Party meets Monopoly. I'm just saying, if there ever was a time to try it again, it's now. I mean, Mario hype is through the roof. There's new voice actors to play with for new lines in the game. Dragon Quest hype is through the roof, especially the classic ones, what with the HD 2D remasters coming out. And Mario RPG is fresh in consumers' heads. Now is the perfect opportunity if they wanted to make another Fortune Street. Basically the same audience as Mario Party. Another thing to consider, one of the rumors is that the co-developer on this Banquet game worked on games with customizable levels. So what if the big draw to this new Fortune Street is that you can make your own boards and that you can share them online? That would be just another feather in Nintendo's cap to convince players to keep their NSO subscriptions active. So now we're in October. Despite what people think as of now, we'll probably see a Pokemon release. It might not be a main game, it might be a remake of a mystery dungeon game, Explorers of Sky Deluxe. Or I would call it something new. Like, what's the definitive version of Time, Darkness, and Sky? Let's call it Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Destiny. But anyways, what if there actually is a new mainline game? And what if it's an HD 2D remaster of HeartGold, SoulSilver? It's basically the same game, but with beautifully redone HD 2D visuals and some minor quality of life changes. The YouTuber Zen Mode has a great video on simple changes that he would make that would make a huge difference in the Johto region. Heck, they can even call it HeartGold Remastered and SoulSilver Remastered, like the same game, just new. I mean, it's been 15 years since HeartGold and SoulSilver on the DS, back in 2009. And that game was originally a 10-year anniversary celebration for the original Gold and Silver, released in 1999. It's been longer from now to HeartGold SoulSilver than it was from HeartGold SoulSilver to Gold and Silver. And it would just be perfect for the current Pokemon audience. A lot of people have been kind of burnt out about the new games, and many fans consider HeartGold SoulSilver to be the best Pokemon games available. It might be a win-win, a small-ish project that they could still get huge holiday money while not overshadowing the hype of Legend ZA. I could see it. I know it's the least likely on my list probably, but I can see it. Okay, November. This game's gonna have 2 games as well in it. So I know it's a long shot, but I kind of see a remake of Donkey Kong Country Returns coming out. It'll have widescreen and HD visuals, no motion control, and maybe added funky mode for younger players. Now, I would love a new Donkey Kong game, but I think they're saving it for the Switch too. Why is this on my mind so much? It's because of the theme park coming out. It's because all the promos I'm seeing, those characters are from Donkey Kong Country Returns. They haven't been seen in a game for close to a decade. And if this remake doesn't have that much new, they could specifically price it cheaper and try to target it for younger players and maybe make it an impulse buy that you can just pick up to go at the theme park. I could see it. I'm imagining it releasing November 7th. But then on November 28th, Thanksgiving Day, I think that's when Nintendo's going to release their actual big holiday title. And like what some of the recent rumors have been saying, I think it's going to be a new 2D Zelda game. I originally heard it from the YouTuber PapaGenos, and he's been speculating that we're going to see a new 2D Zelda game where, at least for a good part of it, you play as Zelda herself. And I think it just makes a lot of sense that they've probably been working on a new top-down game for a while. It would be really refreshing to have a whole new Zelda game in this year that's been mostly ports. So yeah, I could definitely see it as the big holiday game this year. Maybe, now we're in December, maybe Nintendo will release one other game in December. The YouTuber BoTalksGames has been speculating on a remake or a heavily modified port of Samus Returns. Originally for the Game Boy, but really it was a game for 3DS, the first Metroid game that Mercury Steam worked on. And let me just quickly say, if this ever happens, I just hope they fix the final boss to back what the original vision was for the game. And you can still fight Ridley, maybe in an optional dream sequence or something, but I'm getting off topic. Just the concept of a remastered Samus Returns, it's a little far out there. Not for the game itself, but specifically for a December release. Nintendo doesn't usually publish in December, any first-party games at least. Just hear me out. What if they did another double pack? It would be the new 2D Zelda and this basically new 2D Metroid. I could see it. I could see, especially if they do a limited release. Depending on how successful the Metroid Prime and Wind Waker double pack was, I could see them at least going for it. But if not, I still think Metroid Samus Returns is coming to the Switch, but might be a 2025 game or later. If Nintendo did publish anything, it would probably be either something Dragon Quest like they did in 2023, or maybe help publish an indie game, get a physical release for a specific game. And there's plenty coming out this year that I could see Nintendo wanting to have their name on it in some way or another. Okay, so that's really the list from now until the end of the calendar year at least. And I do hope to come back to this in December to see how I did. Let me talk about a few games that I specifically didn't include, a few games that you might be scratching your head about. So why not? Why didn't I include these following? I'm going to keep them brief. Depending on how this direct goes, maybe I'll make a follow-up video. So first off, we already talked about Twilight Princess, and I do think it's coming. I just don't think it's coming this year. And depending on the rollout of Switch 2 games, it might not even be till 2026, but that's not for today's video. Mario Baseball. I do think a Switch Sports 2 is going to be coming out launch window of the Switch 2, and I think they're going to use the momentum from baseball that's hopefully included in that game to then show off, hey, we have this new Mario baseball game. I still think it's going to be a summertime release, around baseball season. Honestly, don't know if it's going to be summer 2025 or summer 2026 even. Maybe spring 2026. Fire Emblem Remake. There's no easy way to say this. The world is in chaos right now, and I think Nintendo's going to want to keep their war games kind of on the shelf for now, especially if it's a remake of Genealogy of the Holy War, where you're basically fighting against other people as opposed to like other zombies or mystic forces. I do think a remake is in the works. I just don't think they want to release it yet. They can hold off a little bit. I think Nintendo learned their lesson from Advanced Wars. F-Zero, whether it's a new game or what I'm predicting probably going to be a remaster of F-Zero GX. I do think that's coming, but I think they're going to save that till Switch 2 launch window. That would be a perfect graphical showcase. All of these games that I'm listing will probably work great as cross titles in 2025. F-Zero specifically, they're going to make like a big point. Let that have its own window for the first half of Switch 2's launch year, and then probably end of 2025, I see a Mario Kart coming. The F-Zero game is going to be amazing. Hyrule Warriors. So some people really think it's coming this year. I think that's going to be a Switch 2 exclusive, mainly because the last few Warrior games have kind of been chugging on the Switch. Let it be its own title specifically for the Switch 2, and let it breathe. Let it fully spread its wings and fly. Two games that have been kind of in the news recently, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. So once again, I think they're going to wait till the Switch 2 is out, because I feel like one of the features of the Switch 2 is let you link up your Switch 1 and kind of use it as a Wii U game tablet while the Switch 2 is plugged in its dock. No idea. It's just a thing that's been in my head for years. So I think certain games are going to be designed that they could be played single screen on the current Switch, but the ideal way to play is with the Switch 2, that you have two systems connected to each other at the same time. And that's the same thing with this full blocks, pull blocks collection game. Same idea. It could be play it on the single screen, but it's not big enough that they need to get it out now. They're gonna wait till Switch 2 is in some more people's hands and then release it, and the ideal way to play is on the Switch 2. Lastly, Earthbound. Beginning of this year, I really thought that we were gonna get an Earthbound remaster because it's the anniversary. However, I'm thinking like there are some franchises that Nintendo really doesn't care about their anniversary, and Earthbound is definitely one of them. I could 100% see an Earthbound remake being made in the same vein as Super Mario RPG. I just think they're going to sit on it, take their time, release it 3 years down the line. Like all of these games that I just listed, I would love to be wrong, but this is just kind of what my gut's telling me. So yeah, that's really all I wanted to talk about. I'm extremely hyped about this upcoming Direct and just about the future in general. We're at the precipice of a new system, and that's always exciting. So let me know what you think. Do you think these ideas are way out there, never going to happen? Do you think it's way too GameCube-centric? Do you think, okay, it's realistic? Maybe not the order I listed in, but you can see it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, if you like this type of speculation stuff, check out some of my other videos. I have some that have been in the works for a while, but trying to get things out the door. And yeah, share it along with your friends that like this kind of video game speculation speak. And please subscribe if you like what I do. Hope you have a great day, and until next time, this is what they should do.